You better have some answers for me today, but Bijan!
Who is this?
Who am I? That's a good one. Bijan, I want to talk about last week.
Okay, what about last week?
They tell me that you were feeling a little under the weather.
Oh, yeah, I just wasn't feeling so good.
Oh, your little tummy tum-tum didn't feel so good, huh?
Yeah,
And so your coach said you could just quit on the team? What kind of a person would even do that?
Okay, who the hell is this?
I'm the manager of one of the most important fantasy teams in the... Hello? Welcome back, fake football managers, to this week's manager's message.
Oh no, not this clown again.
Week 7 brought the continued dominance of the Seminoles. The Seminoles are now 2 games in the lead after taking out super duper wacky Razzles. Tumbles has climbed out of the basement with a lot of help from Dave and his tumble to the bottom.
Crack it down!
Let's take a look at the matchups from last week, and then I'll take a look at the matchups to come. First up, the biggest beatdown of the week was the motherfucking Tumbles putting on a 39-point victory over Simply Slats.
Son of a nutcracker!
Other than Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, Slats didn't really have anyone else show up. The 49ers didn't show up, your tight end did nothing, and Josh Jacobs got you 4 points.
Dang.
Tumbles, on the other hand, your team did pretty damn good. 119 is a decent score. Taylor finally showed up with a 20-point game. Mike Evans had a big game, and the Browns defense came through for you as well. Pretty much everyone came to work for you that day. It helped you out, took you out of the bottom spot. Good job, Tumbles. The next biggest beatdown was a 33-point victory for the Austin, Texas G-Dog Warriors over the South Park Cows.
Why don't you just go back to your Justin Timberlake and your homework, you conformist asshole? You just don't know what real pain is.
The Cows had an awful game. I mean, there's really nothing good about it. James Cook had 18. Otherwise, no one else wanted to show up for you. You did play DK Metcalf, who was scratched before the game started, so that's kind of on you. No one on your bench really did anything either, so it doesn't really matter that much.
No one gives 2 shits.
G-Dog Warriors really didn't have that much of a better game. They only scored 100 points. McCaffrey came through with a 22-point day. TJ Hawkinson put up 19. And the Giants defense really came through for you as well. Otherwise, not a lot of stuff going on for you, but it's always a good day when your opponent only puts up 68 points.
That's so funny. Last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Next up, we have the Dark Side Grey Wolves' 23-point victory over Hostile. Both of these teams put up some pretty good points, to be fair, but the Dark Side Grey Wolves cannot be stopped. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce pretty much put up all of your points this week. Christian Kirk with 19 is pretty good, but otherwise, I mean, no one else really had a big game for you. Also, you had 3 of them show up pretty good for you. ETN with 22, Jalen Hurts 27, Jordan Addison with 34.
Oh yeah, that's kind of nice.
But I don't know if it's ever going to be enough to beat Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Next up, our first mid-season Super Bowl. The number 1 Seminoles were taking on the number 2 Super Duper Wacky Razzles. The Wacky Razzles had a lot of bye week headaches going on, and they really did show up for you. You only ended up with 106 points. Jerome Ford, George Pickens, and Tyreek Hill were the only ones that really showed up for you last week.
We're still here! We're still here!
Ravens defense did pretty good too, but it wasn't enough to keep up with that trifecta of Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown, and Darren Waller. Those 3 guys had a big impact on your team this week, and other than the kicker that I guess it wouldn't have mattered had you changed it or not because that guy got 0 points, everybody else came and helped you out. Good job, Seminoles. The very first champion of the league is looking for a comeback, and he's trying to do it this year.
You gotta be shitting me!
And finally, we have this rigged election. I cannot believe that this happened to me. I ended up taking the loss to the Deadly Venoms this week. 100% because of Bijan Robinson having some tummy aches.
I'm rumbly in my tumbly.
It really sucks when everyone else really has a pretty good game. Maybe Brandon Ayuk could have done something better. But when one guy has some little tummy cramps, doesn't want to play, gets me a goose egg, probably gonna lose. And Jerry started out the gate with a 41-point Lamar Jackson beatdown.
That's rough, buddy.
So he didn't really need anybody else to do much of anything other than just show up. And they did Dallas Goedert, I think, was the one that sort of put the nail in the coffin, plus the Dolphins defense scoring a touchdown. It was pretty close until then. It's not looking good for the Polkai Panthers this year. We really need to get on track, and what I get to do now is play the top teams in the league moving forward. Good job, Jerry. The Polkai Panthers are in tatters. I hope you're happy with yourself.
Fine by me!
Alright, on to the new week, and first up we have Simply Slats taking on Hostile. Now, Simply Slats already had the biggest part of their lineup go on the Thursday night game. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. They had a pretty good game, 34-16. You'd like a little more out of Diggs, but Josh Allen made up for whatever you would have wanted out of Diggs. Hostile, you're going to have to dig yourself out of a hole yet again this week, and even with that big game that Slats had on Thursday, ESPN's still projecting you to win. So hopefully your guys can figure out that football is that little pointy brown thing and they're supposed to catch it and put it over a goal line to make touchdown scores. Eventually they'll figure that out.
I see nothing. I know nothing.
I feel like I'm gonna agree with ESPN. This is probably gonna be a close match again, but I feel like Hossa has enough firepower to potentially overcome the good start that Slats had. So I'm gonna say Hossa gets the win, but not real confident in that one because he's really good at falling on his face.
All around me are familiar faces.
Next, we have the 5th place Deadly Venoms taking on the newly crowned 8th place motherfucking Tumbles. The Deadly Venoms got a pretty good game out of Chris Godwin, all things considered. I think Jerry's gonna be happy with his start so far, and I actually am feeling Jerry's matchups and team a little bit more than Tumbles, but Tumbles is on a run. You can't stop a hot streak. It stops itself.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. I'm
Excuse me. That's enough.
So let's see what happens with Tumbles' team this week. I feel like Gibbs, Wilson, and Chase are question marks every single week, whether they're going to show up or not. If they do, they're great. Their teams have had some troubles as of late, so as the team trouble goes, so will your players. I just see less of the inconsistent players on Jerry's squad, so I'm probably going to lean with Jerry, but again, I think this matchup's probably going to be close.
Make up your mind.
Next up, my Polkai Panthers find themselves in a hole again. Super duper wacky Razzles got 17 points out of Dalton Kincaid. Wow, good job with that one. That makes me feel bad. That was one of your biggest question marks, and he came out right away and scored a touchdown. So I'm like, great, another one of these weeks. I have an issue at quarterback. Justin Fields is down. Not that he was doing amazing anyways. So what did I decide to do? I decided to go right in your face, super duper wacky Razzles, and I picked up your fucking quarterback. That's right, I'm playing Dak Prescott for the block. My hope is that any of your stupid Cowboys score, Dak Prescott is the means to that score.
Have you any idea how fucking deluded you sound?
I'm sure they're just going to let Tony Pollard get 25 rushing touchdowns this week. Dak probably just sits down, slips on a banana peel, never makes it into the game. Something dumb. But I don't have a good quarterback to play, so what the hell? Hedging my bets there. Hopefully Bijan Robinson, his little tummy ache doesn't fucking keep him out of a game again. I just hope that Bill Belichick, the mastermind, can take out Tua and Tyreek and make the Miami Dolphins beat them on the ground. That would really help me out, Bill Belichick. Hopefully that's your defensive plan, and hopefully your team can execute that plan.
We're on to Cincinnati.
I really didn't want to play you right now. I need to get right, and it's going super duper wacky Razzles, then the Seminoles back to back. Oh man, my poor team.
That was horrible.
Next up, we have the number 1 Seminoles taking on the South Park Stinkers. We got a number 1 versus number 10. South Park got 16 points out of 2 players going on Thursday night. That's not very good.
This is a mess.
Doesn't mean it's over, but the Seminoles players have been showing up week in, week out. That's why this guy is number 1 in the league. The Seminoles are as many games ahead of second place as Dave is away from second place. Huh? That's how much the Seminoles are leading this league right now. I'm not going to bet against him. I think Herbert and Allen are going to come correct this week. His addition of Darren Waller was a big one. Waller looking really good lately. A.J. Brown has been a beast. And Puka Nacua is like this perfect little free angel receiver that he found out of nowhere.
Hey, sweet angel.
Eventually, Cooper Kupp's going to take away from Puka, but if defenses are just that afraid of Cooper Kupp, this guy's going to take advantage of the extra targets. Of course, I'm going to side with the Seminoles. He's going to have to lose more to give me a reason to bet against him.
It's not fair.
And then finally, we have the number 3 Austin, Texas G-Dog Warriors taking on the number 4 Darkside Grey Wolf. This should be a pretty good matchup as well. Obviously, the Grey Wolf had their kicker going on Thursday. Nothing crazy, 6 points. That doesn't really help you that much. Doesn't really hurt you that much either. These guys are both projected with 131 points. ESPN thinks that these guys are going to be the biggest scoring teams of the week, except for the team I'm playing.
But let's not call him a loser. Why not? He's sensitive. I don't want him to cry.
I think that as Kamara gets healthy, we're going to see that the G-Dog Warriors have the number 1 and number 2 running back in the entire league, and not to mention Cooper Kupp on the roster as well. This guy could be a complete nightmare if we hit the playoffs and all these guys are hitting their stride. And then he's got a few guys on the bench that I wouldn't mind having in my starting lineup as well. As far as the Grey Wolf goes, it comes down to Patrick Mahomes and Mr. Taylor Swift.
Hi, Taylor.
Those guys are putting up close to 70 points some days for you. That's insane. Mostert's been looking pretty good, but Mixon's garbage. McLaurin is very hit or miss. I think Thielen's been pretty solid for you though as well. You definitely are putting up scores. I think I'm going to lean into the G-Dog Warriors to win this one, but again, I think this matchup is going to be really, really close.
Nothing's impossible.
There you go, guys. Another exciting week of football coming your way. Good luck to everyone out there, obviously, except the Wacky Razzles. I need you to lose.
He's a clown, honestly.
Make sure that you do not play a player that isn't in the game, like Dave did. It doesn't help you.
I rest my case.
Thank you guys for watching, and now here is your inspirational message.
When the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship, but it is not this day. An hour of wolves and shattered shields when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand! Men of the West!